Hey, everybody, it's Reggie with Lawyer Interviews. Today we are talking with Matt, who is an attorney out of Miami, Florida. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Reggie.
Hey, well, first off, we also have to give your title. You are the head of community with Law Trades, as we see like the Law Trades
I
behind
am.
you.
I feel like a great billboard behind me.
It is. It's a great billboard.
It hides like the really crappy home office that's secretly behind me, right?
Right, right. I love the like faux background. Sometimes I've seen people with like the most interesting, even like showing up to court. I'm like, what is behind you?
So funny. I I once had somebody. I wish they put up a faux background. They were actually outside. It was in court. It was at a motion calendar hearing, and they were on their porch drinking coffee, like in their pajamas, and they're just like sipping their coffee. And the judge is like, "Hello, what do you?" And he's just like, "Well, that's Miami for you, though." So
I mean, there's some pros and cons. I think we've all gotten a little comfortable with, this. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm wearing sweatpants right now. I am like, business on the top, cash on the bottom. Like,
listen, I get it.
all right. Well, Matt, it's so great to have you here today. And also because you have a very unique kind of career. And I'd love you to take our viewers kind of from your start to where you are now in
Sure.
the community with Law Trades.
Yeah. So I started, let's see, I went to law school. I got out of law school. I started at a firm doing strictly like insurance defense. And that drove me crazy. So that I went to the government because I live in Tallahassee, Florida, which is the capital of Florida. So I'm in Tallahassee. I worked for the government. I moved down to South Florida, where I'm originally from. I got another job. I started litigating. And at that point, I wanted to talk to clients, right? I wanted to get involved and like, right? Because I mean, like, I think you know yourself, when you have a book of business, you can control your career.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so I started posting on social media, just honestly to connect with people. I also posted because I was just to post. I mean, right? I'm a millennial. I imagine you probably are a millennial as well. Like,
Yes.
we grew up with the internet, so just posting on social media. And I started with LinkedIn,
Okay.
and through LinkedIn, I built a bit of a book of business. I took that. I went to a different firm. I started posting a lot more. I got on TikTok, which is wild. TikTok is like, it's like a different world, right?
It's the Wild West. It really is. It's like the new frontier.
It so is like and it's funny which I could go to that later, but like what hits on TikTok compared to what hits on LinkedIn are different worlds.
Very different. Absolutely. Yep.
I took that, and then I ended up through, I think, LinkedIn, getting connected with folks. I ended up getting into private equity, and I ended up becoming the general counsel of a private equity group.
Wow.
At that point, I blasted social media as hard as I can. At that, not even to build business, just because I don't know. I liked posting on social media, right? Posting
Right.
fun memes, TikToks, whatever.
Yeah.
And from there, I was contacted by Law Trades, who wanted to. They have a community department where they like to create this whole environment where their clients and their talent and everyone surrounding it can be engaged and learn from each other and work with each other and basically, Law Trades is more of like a vessel for this network.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I was like, "Do I have to do any legal work?" And they said no, and I left. And I was like,
Oh man, like that's the sweetest gig. Look, Law Trades. Are you hiring?
right. Well, hold on. You
Hey,
might.
come on, pick me off. Look, everyone's got a prize. That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, and you mentioned like your meme pages and the memes you had created really helped you land with Law Trades.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of lawyers out there are hesitant to put their names or identities to their memes or whatever when they're complaining about law or making fun of the law. I mean, what's your take on that?
So I I get it. I understand it completely because I've been told by every employer to like, hey Matt, maybe cool down here, or maybe don't talk like this, or don't do this. And I understand that. So you have to work within those bounds,
Right.
but depending on the firm you're working at, the tolerance of your employer, just do it. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
especially the memes, like everyone has I'll say this, everyone can relate to law school and crappy experiences of law school. If you can't post about the law profession or things of that nature, then post about law school. Then
Right.
post about law school. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, and some of them also hit no matter what area you're in. I mean, there's and I get you've got like litigators, you've got in-house, you've got transactional attorneys, different areas, but like I don't know, like some of those are like so cathartic for me to hear other attorneys hate opposing counsel as much as I hate opposing counsel. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, you ever just had a bad opposing counsel and you find a meme and you're like, yeah, like that's it.
Yeah, all the time. Oh my gosh, I've got so many bad stories. I started litigating.
Share them.
Actually, you know what? I've got a good one.
Get it.
So I think I've told this story like 100 times now because it just makes me laugh. So I litigated up in Tallahassee, and I had a case where, gosh, it was on Halloween, and it was like my first depo, and my boss was coming to to help me with this depo. And it's Halloween, and I was wearing a hot dog costume, like a full hot dog.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, can I wear the hot dog costume to the depot? And my boss was like, yeah, whatever. Like joking, right? Like you didn't think I was serious.
Okay.
Well, I'm stupid. And I showed up to a firm that has billboards in every state that everyone knows. I won't say the name, but you know the firm. And I showed up to their office, their really nice office, in a hot dog costume.
I love it.
I walk into the conference room in a hot dog costume. And I see opposing counsel, and I see his client and my boss, and I'm in a hot dog costume. and my boss is like looking at me like what is, I don't, sorry, I have this guy with me. And then, opposing counsel kind of chuckles. And then the deponent is like stone cold. He's like, what are you wearing? And that, for me, I go, a hot dog costume.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
So I start the depot with a hot dog costume on, and at that point, it was such a glaring stare. I took it off. I eventually did take it off, and it ended, and I just put the hot dog costume back on.
I love it. I love it. Like, did we just become best friends? Because I think that's amazing. I have never heard anyone showing up in a hot dog costume to a depot, so that is really fantastic.
It's around here somewhere. It was. Oh gosh, I've got and that's a funny thing. Like when you're an associate, you don't know where to push the bounds. Like for me, I was like so meek in so many other areas. For some reason, I was like, you know what, the costume. That's a great idea.
Exactly. I love it. Well, one time I wore a white shirt with it was sleeveless, but it had like one of those like the pussy bows where it's black, and I wear the black Ray-Ban glasses, and literally was called Colonel Sanders. I mean, I wasn't dressing up at all, but I was like, do I legit look like the Colonel right here? I should have brought like some chicken in with, like I'm trying to dress like Colonel Sanders, but I look like him.
I've got one more.
Yeah,
this one isn't me. This one is from my boss, because I remember he came into my office like dying laughing. So apparently he had walked into a Miami courthouse, and a gentleman had walked into the courtroom with a jacket on and no shirt. So like hairy chest, jacket.
Okay.
Everyone's like, yeah, we're in Miami, but like this is new. So, like,
yeah. Yeah, you're taking the whole business suit to the next level without the shirt, right?
Right. Like we get it, man. Like you must look really good. Like I get you, like body image, no issues, right? So apparently someone was in the elevator with him and had thrown up on him by mistake. And well, not by mistake, I mean, it just happens, right? So
right.
He gets out of the elevator. I guess he takes off his shirt. He puts on the jacket with no shirt. He doesn't go home because he's a hearing. And he shows up in front of the judge, and he goes, Judge, I'm sorry, I couldn't go home. I've got this hearing, and some UMC hearing. Like I've got some hearing, and this is what happened. I'm sorry. And then he goes, my son's coming, and my son's supposed to bring me a shirt. So apparently, I guess his son must be working in the same law firm. His son shows up apparently and doesn't have a shirt and comes to laugh at him and takes pictures.
Oh God.
So it was a big show, and he's like explaining it to everyone in the courtroom how ridiculous it is. The judge is getting a laugh out of it. I guess he does the hearing with no shirt on and the jacket. And my boss comes to my office, and he's like, just like another day in Miami.
You're like, the things we see, we could write a book about in Miami.
All my meme catalog is just Miami courtroom hot takes.
I love it. I love it. That's so funny. Well, I mean, look, no offense taken, I hope, but like there are some really cool stories out of Florida. And usually I'm like, if this is a legal case, it's going to be weird. There's
Sure.
a few states, I'm like, but Florida's one. I'm like, this sounds like a Florida case.
That's true. We have like the most aggressive public records laws. So like if anything ridiculous happens, you get every detail, every single detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. That's probably why too. It's like everything's available. It's like, hey, the public should know. I'm like, I want to know all these like gruesome details for sure. So tell me a little bit, Matt, about how and when you were like, okay, I'm going to create memes. Like what was the point for you in your practice where you were like, I need to do this. I like doing this.
Sure, sure. I can like remember the day. So like every other lawyer, I was posting like those like legal updates, like the same benign, like nonsensical stuff that everyone gets blasted in their email, right?
Right.
Every client has like legal update, XYZ. So I was
Right.
doing the same thing because I didn't know any better. And then one day I had a client that like refused to use contracts. Everything was like a handshake.
Ah,
I mean, you're a commercial litigator, you get it.
yeah.
I'm like, you understand this is really going to make my life terrible. He's like, I don't care. So I posted a video on LinkedIn and it was like me so disheveled, so tired. And I'm like, just, it was kind of like funny, like just have a contract.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like a plea to the world. So I did that and it ended up getting some likes. I'm like, oh, all right, well, maybe this makes sense. So then I started posting more videos and more like jokey LinkedIn statuses.
Mhm.
And then I posted a TikTok and then the TikTok got like 1,000 likes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe this works. So then I was like, well, what about memes? Because candidly, memes are easier. Like,
Right. Right.
so I started posting memes and the memes did like even better. So like I had a meme that was like 4,000 likes and reshare like 100 times. I'm like, okay, this is it.
Mhm.
And I think at that point, people were like, Matt, you're really jokey. Like, aren't you supposed to be serious as a lawyer? I'm like, no, not
No.
that's not true. That's a swing and a miss. That's not true.
Right. Right. Love
So,
that.
so I started posting more and more memes.
Very cool. And then and so you said that you actually found your current position because of what you had posted. And so tell me how that kind of went down, how they reached out and what
Sure.
that was like for you.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like full force posting. I was posting again, a lot of it was on LinkedIn, which if you're listening to this and you're not looking, you don't know where to post, go on LinkedIn. There's a lot of people that want funny legal content. Just do it.
Mhm.
It's great. People really enjoy it. So don't be afraid if your boss sees it and thinks you're a joker. Like we're all jokers for lawyers. So
For
we're
sure.
all clowns. So so
Exactly.
I had posted one more thing, like a personal story, because I think when I was in law school or just after law school, a recruiter told me, because I went to like a non T14 law school, and I had like whatever grades that I should just be a paralegal. And it was like, so I posted that story and they saw it. I mean, my bosses are like the nicest, coolest people. They saw it and they go, look, that stuff resonates with us. Your content resonates with us. We already have a really awesome community department. Do you want to come and provide your perspective and bring, your takes and you're funny and help expand it? And I'm like, yeah, do I have to do any legal work? And they're like, no. And I'm like, all right, like
You're like, I'm in.
I put in my 1 day notice. I'll see you there. Like,
Yeah. You're like, I'm bye guys. I gotta go.
I got yeah. So, and that's how they found me.
So cool. So cool. So like as head of community, what are your like what do you do in a day for
Sure.
law? Yeah, I'd love to know.
So in a day, I think on a day-to-day basis, a lot of what I'm doing is creating content, things that lawyers resonate with, lawyers laugh at, lawyers enjoy. Because I don't think there's enough good legal content in the world. There's just a bunch of legal articles and
Mhm.
grandiose statements by big law partners that have no concept of what's funny anymore. So,
Right.
so I do that. I'm constantly on the phone with our clients and our talent because we have two parts to law trades. I mean, I guess I'll explain law trades very quickly.
Yeah.
So law trades, we are a tech startup, and what we do is we build legal infrastructure for GCs. Like for example, like if you're a solo GC, you can't afford to hire a bunch of attorneys, but you have maybe 20, 30 hours a week of commercial contracts work or IP work or whatever.
Mhm.
We have this network of attorneys in this really cool platform where you go on the platform and you will be matched with like 3 to 5 attorneys.
Mm.
Pick that attorney and like within a day, they're there, they're mobilized, and they're ready to be your infrastructure. And our attorneys are all ridiculously so much smarter than I am, like, right? Like so smart, like former GCs, former this, former that, like really great people that want to work remote, that can work very flexible hours, whether it's 5 hours a week, 10 hours, 20, whatever.
Mhm.
And it's just awesome. It's honestly awesome. And we also work with law firms too, to supplement law firms whenever they need to search up, or
Yeah.
someone goes on maternity leave, for example, and they just need to fill the gap,
Mhm.
things of that nature. So on a day-to-day, I'm talking to that talent, I'm talking to clients, making sure as a part of our community, you're happy, that there's anything that we can do, because you're a part of us. So what
Right.
can we do for you to make it worth it to you, right? To be a part of our community. So
Very cool.
that, a lot of events, a lot of going out and meeting the people and really, again, resonating and hearing stories and being present, I guess is the best way to put it.
So cool. Is Law Trades nationwide? Is it in Florida? Like how do you get your members and how far do you reach?
Sure. I actually believe we are international. We are in a couple countries outside of the United States, and I believe we inevitably will be, or it's global domination, right? We'll be in all countries.
Fantastic. That's
So
great.
in the United States, we're in every state. We have attorneys, I believe, in every state. And granted, it almost doesn't matter because most of these jobs are remote anyways.
Mhm.
But and then we have clients across the board, in almost every state as well.
Very cool. And how new is the company? Do you know, or like how old it is?
Sure. I think we have been around. This is the one question I don't think I can answer. I think we've been around at least since 2015.
So new company, new startup, like you kind of got in probably pretty early on. So that's exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think I am number employee 17, 18.
Hey, very cool. Very
And I tell you, it's a team of people that they're going to hear this and they're going to laugh. They're all so much smarter than me. They're going to find out about that because of this podcast. But it's an awesome team, awesome founders, like, and it's really cool because we're trying to decentralize the law, right? Like we're trying to make it where if you're a freelancer, you're someone that left Big Law Native as a good example, maybe because you weren't getting a fair shake,
Mhm.
especially if you were maybe overlooked over for partnership, or you just burnt out. You
Right.
can come on this platform if you want to work 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week or whatever you want to do, or supplement a practice that you were creating. We'll help you. We'll make sure that you could be self-sustaining and you could start your career on your own terms.
Very cool. Very cool. So do you find that a lot of attorneys that contact to be part of the community, are they solo practitioners or is it a mix? I mean, do you have people who are in other firms full time, I guess what's the kind of demographic that you end up with?
So in terms of demographic, we see a lot of women that are leaving the practice. A lot of people that are generally, I would say, like not given a fair shake from the practice of law. Most of them are leaving firms. Most I would say are technically solo shops because they're freelancers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really the demographic. We don't have any. I don't believe we have any law firms that are we call them law traders, law traders, but we do have law firms obviously as clients that we assist with.
Right. And I'm sure like non-competes and stuff like probably interfere with certain associates or partners being able to, come, but solo practitioners surely can can benefit for sure. That's so cool. So now when you say you have events and like these like get-togethers or whatnot, how do those work? And where can people attend? How do they get notifications of those?
Reggie, I think you just want to go, right?
Yeah, really. I'm just like, can you guys like invite me? Come on. A girl needs a vacation. Come on.
So I'll give you like a sneak peek to an event we're planning now. We're probably, because tech has just like taken over Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that weird, I don't know if you saw this like Bowl 2.0, which is like the Wall Street Bowl. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's just like super mechanical, like what you would expect a Bitcoin bull to look like.
Oh, cool. So not this like big bronze like bull on Wall Street, but it's like techie. Okay. Right. I'll Google this. Okay.
So in Miami, we're probably going to do a big event. It may be a dinner. It may be even just a happy hour, right? And bringing over everyone that just wants to meet and use it as a networking event where everyone can talk to each other. Nothing too formal, right?
Mhm.
Because even in tech, especially, I'm in tech now and I'm wearing a jacket. Listen, I'm in gym shorts myself. Like
There you go.
I've worn a suit in quite a bit of time. So a very informal event where we can all network, exchange ideas, and have a good time.
Very cool. Very cool. I love that. I think that's cool. And especially because I think the past few years, obviously, even CLEs or bar review, I mean, things that even states used to hold have been kind of gone. And so like the community of lawyers is no longer local. I mean, it can be all over the world
Yeah,
via Zoom, but like getting together socially, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of effort by bar associations and stuff. So
I agree. I haven't either. And they may just stop inviting me because I keep making memes about them on media. They're like, Matt, you've lost the
meme
interview.
about it if we do. The next day, you're like page 6. They're like, don't invite them because the next day they're going to write a mean article.
That's what it is. They're like, a bad review meme from Matt again. No longer invited.
No, I think it's good though. I think that also some of the critical memes, anyway, have started some interesting conversations among associates too. Like, oh God, it's this bad for you too. It's bad universally. And for me as an associate starting out, when these memes kind of began kind of growing, I was like, oh God, these guys go through the hell too. Like misery loves company. I'm so glad I'm not alone swimming in this bucket.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, they are too.
It's so true. I think I did one meme once because this is something I always make. It infuriates me. I posted a TikTok about it today. So there are plenty of firms that don't give origination credit to their associates, right? You bring in a client, and if you're listening to this, you don't know what that is. It's like you bring in a client and you get credit. That is your client. And
Right.
because you get credit, maybe it plays into partnership track. I hope it plays into payment, right? You get a piece of whatever the revenue is, the net revenue of it.
Mm-hmm.
It plays into some sort of bonus, whatever it plays into something. There's a benefit. Mm-hmm. And again, firms don't want to do it. So I posted a meme. I think it was on LinkedIn and maybe on Twitter, and it was like Uno card. It was like this Uno card meme where it was like draw 20 or give your associates origination credit. And like the person draws 40.
I'll draw 40
every time. So and it strikes conversation. So I posted it, and then I saw a partner from a big law firm that I won't reference, but was like, we don't give our associates this credit because we credit them with, what did they say? They said we compensate them with business development courses. We teach them how to do business. I know. We teach them how to do business development because we teach.
You give them a swag jacket with our business name on it. Like, woo!
Oh my gosh, a vest. So exciting.
I would love another North Face vest. Like, come on.
Oh, that client brought in $400,000 in revenue. No, the vest is fine. Please.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this vest that has our name on it that they'll never freaking wear. Like, let's give them that. Exactly.
That's what you want. That is exactly what was on. And it struck this conversation. People talked about it, and they were like, and then people were commenting on it like, that doesn't make. And then other partners were like, my firm doesn't do that. If you want to come to my firm, we will give you what you want. And then that actually snowballed into another post where I'm like, and I did this as a GC where I wouldn't give work to somebody unless they got origination credit. I would call managing partners. I'm like, you're getting it.
Yeah.
And then that causes change. And then people started to do that. And I've heard of many people now, many GCs and assistant general counsels, like, you can get the work, but you got to get paid for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember other memes starting conversations like with maternity leave or parental family leave, and people were like, okay, this started as a meme and now it's an entire conversation. Even the ABA has had some articles come out about stuff that happened on social media that caused discussion. So, as much as people are like, oh, memes, maybe the older white-haired folk, but it has started a change and a conversation for maybe the younger practicing generations to kind of kick back against the old school, because the old school's failing. I don't know. I don't think big firms are pulling in. I mean, you've seen news. I think we all have, like, they're downsizing, and they're actually, these bonus referrals they're giving people to come over huge, but people don't want to work for big firms sometimes.
Does it not make you laugh? You'll see it on the other Instagram meme accounts where it's like ding, 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 bonus, April bonus. And it's like every post, that always makes me chuckle because it's like, I smell, not from them, but I smelled the desperation from like the firms.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you're like,
Bring in $20,000.
yeah, exactly. Well, my sister works at a big firm,
Yeah.
and she's a few years out, and she'll always like send me the like, hey, if you come over, you can get this much. I'm like, yeah, but like, I don't want to work 90-hour bill 90-hour weeks. Okay, not just work it, bill it.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying you don't bill 90 and work 90? That's not the same.
No, yeah, yeah, isn't that crazy? That to me was like the mind f of work, like working at a law firm. I'm like, wait, I work 10 hours today and I can bill 4. Are you kidding me? Like,
Oh,
I can bill 4 of those 10 hours. It's like the, whatever wonder of the world, billable hours. It's insane.
someone had said to me once, I was like, because I had a billable hour requirement at one firm, it was like 200 a month.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, that doesn't seem so bad. That's like you're billing, what is it? Like you're billing like 8 hours a day or whatever it ended up
Yeah.
being.
40-hour
Like,
weeks and, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, you're like chilling. I'm like, that's like a 12-hour day, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Because you can't, no one can, and if you're that efficient, you're a robot and you need to just take all of our jobs.
Yeah, I was going to say, or you're going to be able to maintain that for a few years before you have a nervous breakdown and we commit you and away from society, because who can do that? Who can do that? I don't know.
I saw an above the law article years ago. I don't know if this was like a big news story where there was a person who was consistently billing a year 3,000 hours, a big law attorney, big law too. So
really, wow,
and it was crazy. And I was like, you are not. And he was like, yeah, I'm living the dream. I'm like, what dream is that?
yeah, like unless your dream is to just literally pound out work all day, which that sucks. Not me, not me.
You gotta be a lawyer. You gotta live. I mean, like that. I think that's a problem with the practice of law. Is like no one wants us to be human. Everyone wants us to be this like machine. Actually, I keep going back to the TikToks. It's just funny, but like I had posted a TikTok just a joke saying like clients don't know how much that we write off the bill, right? Because when I send an email to the client, I'm going to look at it 9 times anxiously, like afraid to send that email, and then I'll look at it 4 more times because there's going to be a typo in it. Someone commented and said, "Why would I pay for your imposter syndrome? Why would I?" That's what someone said, and I said, and in me, I'm like, 1, it's a joke, but 2, we're human, right? Lawyers are human.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that too. Like sometimes it's like calls for strategy or whatever, and it's like thinking about or working through stuff, and they're like, well, why didn't you just do it? I'm like, well, I'm sorry, then you do it.
Here's my law degree, you enjoy.
Yeah, here's the Google go nuts.
The Google. Listen, it's a hard job, and I think people make fun of us, I think, for being like, again, like let me backtrack. We make fun of ourselves more than anybody, right? Lawyers are lawyers' biggest critics. And then people criticize lawyers for being critics of lawyers.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely will share funny memes or whatever, and TikTok as well. And people go, is it that bad? Do you hate? I'm like, no, I love it. I love what I do, but you've got to laugh at some of the stuff as like kind of a cathartic release, because sometimes it's so crazy. You just have to laugh at it somehow. I think it's healthy.
That's the best way to put it. You just have to. I get those all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, lawyers are they're just always making fun of themselves. They seem so miserable. I'm like, I feel like sometimes.
Yeah.
But sometimes like for you especially, right? When you get that win for your client after like killing yourself over it, how great is that feeling?
So good. So good. I mean, it really is. And like, even like, so my cases last a long time. Like I had one just this last year, it was 6.5 years, because, they last a longer time than most cases. And, if I was like just the biggest relief, and, to be able to go, yeah, you finally got a good settlement or win or whatever. But for the other, 6 years, you're just grinding. So it is. It's like, if I can find a meme that I relate to and that's funny and gives me a laugh, my friends a laugh and a chuckle, it is kind of like this like way to laugh with some friends about something we've all gone through. And I think that's what's so unique and cool about your page, is you offer that kind of content.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's make fun of it together, guys. Let's just and maybe you get a client out of it. Maybe you do, because you're a funny meme.
Absolutely. And that's, or a job. I mean, you never know.
I tell you what, like I always thought I was gonna like I think when I started law school, I was like, I'm gonna start. No, I started law school. I was like, I'm gonna start my own law firm. And then when I finished law school, I'm like, I'm gonna be the GC of a company. And then I became the GC of a company and I did it. And I'm like, this isn't what I wanted. This
Right.
is not right. This is not what I want to do. So like the memes opened, you're right. The memes and the funny content and the humanizing of the profession opens so many doors. And like, I don't know if anyone listening wants to open a door, but it definitely helps. It
Yeah,
definitely helps.
absolutely. And I think too, I think the new wave, at least in my opinion, I think the new wave of the millennial generation down for sure are not going to be so tolerant of the old school stuffiness. I
Yes.
think that it's like we've already like as a community decided to kick it to the curb. So, you know, I think slowly but surely it'll become the norm that attorneys are present as people on social media and are present as people on everyday things, even articles where they're interviewed and not so put together and robotic, like you said. I think that I hope that's the change anyway.
It seems like it. Do you follow by chance? Do you follow like Alex Sue either on Instagram?
Yes, 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 yes.
He's the best. And he's a great example of like another person who's trying to give that image, right? Like he practiced in big law
Yeah.
and he left big law and he engaged into like like a JD-esque job.
Mhm.
And he's showing the world like how you could be a fun, normal human being with a JD or an Esquire, and he's killed it.
And he also is like way cool to say, look, I went to like a really good school. I failed the bar.
Yes.
He's like, you guys, like, you never know, because people always assume, but I'm like, I love that. Like, be human. You don't need to act like, you did everything perfectly to the book. Like sometimes people have struggles or failures and then you pick yourself back up. And I love that he shares that. I love it.
100%. Yeah, I mean, and it resonates with people. You're right, because no one wants to talk about failing the bar, for example. No one wants to say
Oh,
that.
of
Like,
course.
I had a nervous breakdown studying for the bar. Right?
I did too. I took the bar during the exam soft, this is for you. Exam soft crash of 2014. And the first day it wouldn't upload. I mean, nationwide, they wouldn't upload. I thought I already auto failed. So I didn't study for the second day. I was just freaking out, crying, went the second day, did it, and ended up with a great score and passed. But like I was just positive I failed. I'm like, I just auto failed. Like I couldn't upload my thing. And now I'm never gonna be a lawyer and all this money to waste. And I'll just go live in a van by the river. That
That was a nice Chris Farley reference.
yeah, there you go.
That was good. Gosh, that's actually really scary because I remember going to like a Starbucks next to the Florida bar and like submitting it and like it freezes and you sit there and like your whole life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like,
I should have done something else.
it is. But the bar is not the end of the world. And there's so many people too that, like you said, they get into law practice, they pass the bar, get into it, and hate it. Absolutely hate it or hate what they do, and they want out. So it's like there's so many different avenues that lawyers can take in a traditional or not. And I love like having you on here for that reason too.
I appreciate it. Listen, that's something I'm hoping to promote because like I've now done every job. Well, I've done like every like most every job. I've been a litigator. I've worked in government. I've been a transactional deal attorney. I went in-house. I did in-house roles, and I didn't like any of it. Well, I like some aspects of each thing, right? But like I didn't like it as a whole. So I know, and everyone, there's such a faux pas to it. Like you're leaving the law, like you can never go back. That's what people always say. You can never go back.
So not true.
So not true. So not true. And I'm like, well, I'm leaving, and if I ever want to go back, cool, but I don't want to practice. So now I don't practice, and you can find an awesome career not practicing, utilizing your JD if you want to, or not.
Right.
Live
Right.
your life, man. Live your life.
Absolutely. And like you said, you're still in the legal industry. You're still dealing with lawyers all the time, but you get a lot more, I think, control and have a little bit more, a little bit. You have a lot more fun, it sounds like, than the rest of us.
It's so much fun. It's like, I think my favorite part of the job isn't just like making like the content, is like it really is talking to people. And I know that sounds super cliche, but the stories you hear, I mean, yourself from these podcasts, especially like the stories from attorneys are so fascinating. Like there's a guy I was speaking to recently who was in Oklahoma. He practiced in Oklahoma. And he's like, in my town, there was no big law. We've never seen big law firms. like the best job you can get was at like this one firm where you made $60,000 to start your career. I'm like,
Mm.
that was it. And he explained growing up in that kind of environment and being a lawyer in that environment, and basically not being viewed as prestigious and not being viewed as really, like, that's how people aren't viewed. They're not viewed as like great big law attorneys. And he's like, I don't need this. And he literally like grinded his way and worked as hard as he could. And he got to this awesome job where he's really happy. And the whole journey was like the coolest thing to hear.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And it is everyone's journey is individualistic. Some
Yeah.
people would maybe be happy with that little $60,000 job or whatever, but you've got to do what makes you happy. I think people think they're stuck because we end up saddled with these giant loans and all that. And so, but go find what makes you happy. I think otherwise you're just going to be miserable. And then lawyers concerned for lawyers is probably going to be calling. We'll probably become alcoholics. That's what happens.
That's literally it. That's like the logical conclusion. It's so true. I mean, and there's so many cool things out there. Like you can go, again, if you want to stay in like, to legal operations, you can go into, kind of like roles of my role where you're constantly engaging with attorneys, sales related roles as well. I mean, Alex works at Ironclad. At Ironclad, they have a great deal. I'm like, this is like a plug for Ironclad now.
We'll put law trades all over this. So
I know, right? I'm gonna call Alex after this and be like, hey, real quick, I plugged your company, just a heads up. But like, I know
Alex, send the check.
Quick. I didn't get paid yet. So they hire like a bunch of former attorneys to do a variety of roles. And like, I know those people, I'm sure that those people are happy in the roles they're doing because they're still involved in the law, but in a completely different way, in a completely different kind of environment, and a stress that maybe they're not dealing with that they dealt with in practice. It's the coolest thing.
Very cool. I love it. I love this so much. This has been such a fun conversation. And Matt, thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it.
I'd love you to give, Law Trades handle really fast, yours, and like TikTok and everything, so that people know where to follow you. And we'll throw up the captions in post editing.
I appreciate it. So if you want to follow Law Trades, it's literally at Law Trades. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, which is basically me, Twitter. And then for myself, you could find me on LinkedIn. My name is Matt Margolis. And if you want to find me anywhere else, it's Matt's Law.
It's Matt's Law. Perfect. All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for watching Lawyer Interviews. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.